So friends, we are continuing our study of the four powers of the mother this week. Covered Sri Aurobindo's philosophical description, the cosmological description, the transcendental, the universal, and the individual mother. Then we came to the introduction of the four powers. Then we went on to take up two powers so far. Maheshwari, the mother of supramental infinities, wideness, the mother of vision, vastness. Then, last week, we studied a little bit what Sri Aurobindo had to say about the Mahakali force of the mother. How she is the one which gives the strength necessary for spiritual progress. The one who battles the asuras, the one who breaks down the barriers. It is said once Mahakali does her vast clearing, then comes the manifestation of Mahalakshmi. Mahalakshmi, in Sri Aurobindo's description, among other things, predominantly, she is the mother that represents beauty and harmony. The mother that presides over these elements in the universe. One of the quotations of the mother: in the physical world of all things, it is beauty that expresses best the divine. The physical world is the world of form and perfection of form. Beauty interprets, expresses, manifests the eternal. Another quotation of the mother to one of the sadhaks: let beauty be your constant ideal. The beauty of the soul, the beauty of sentiments, the beauty of thoughts, the beauty of the action, the beauty in the work, so that nothing comes out of your hands which is not an expression of pure and harmonious beauty, and the divine help shall always be with you. Sanatana Dharma and the Indian civilization has always emphasized beauty as a part of our life and our world. We worship Krishna as Shyamasundara, Vishnu as Alankara Priya. The jewels, the garments, the chandan, all of that, it is really, ours was not a civilization that shunned beauty or shunned the world. Ours was a civilization that accepted the world and beautified it. Civilizationally, there was a period when we turned our backs upon the world, but we will come to that later. Let us go to Sri Aurobindo's text about Mother Mahalakshmi. He says, wisdom and force are not the only manifestations of the Supreme Mother. Wisdom referring to Maheshwari and force referring to Mahakali. Wisdom and force are not the only manifestations of the Supreme Mother. There is a subtler mystery of her nature, and without it, wisdom and force would be incomplete things, and without it, perfection would not be perfect. That is the Mahasaraswati's province. He says, without Mahalakshmi, Maheshwari and Mahakali would be imperfect, and the work of perfection of Mahasaraswati would remain incomplete. This is where Mahalakshmi comes in. Above them is a miracle of eternal beauty, an unseizable secret of divine harmonies, the compelling magic of an irresistible universal charm and attraction that draws and holds things and forces and beings together and obliges them to meet and unite, that a hidden Ananda may play from behind the veil and make of them its rhythms and its figures. This is the power of Mahalakshmi. And there is no aspect of the divine Shakti more attractive to the heart of the embodied beings. Mother Mahalakshmi, described as the mother of beauty and harmony. Ananda, she seems to hold the key to Ananda. She helps us find a rhythm within the universe where we flow in consonance, not with dissonance, with the universal energies and forces. As we go through life, there is a period of harmony, and then there is a period of a little bit of difficulties where when we want things, they don't happen. When we try to make something happen, there's a lot of obstacles. It is a part of life to have ups and downs. But there are some cases and some people or some periods of time within some people's life where everything they try seems to be a misstep. Whatever they do seems to be a struggle. Whatever can go wrong seems to go wrong. Somewhere the inner and outer are not in sync. This is where the mother, Mahalakshmi, comes in. This is where we have to discover that the harmony needs to be set back into condition. There is someone who asked a question to the mother. In the last sentence, it is said, this is the power of Mahalakshmi, and there is no aspect of the divine Shakti more attractive to the heart of the embodied beings. Why embodied beings? The mother went on to elaborate that her outpouring of love and the outpouring of harmony, the magnetism, it is so powerful that even animals are attracted. Even other forms of living beings are attracted. We know how, we see this in the case of Sri Krishna, Sammohana. Like that, it is said sometimes animals forget their traditional enmity, instinctive enmity, and stay in harmony. That is the power, the spell cast by Mahalakshmi. Maheshwari can appear too calm and great and distant for the littleness of the earthly nature to approach or contain her. She is the mother of vastness. Mahakali too swift and formidable for its weakness to bear. We don't want our high school principal as the mother. We don't want to be punished or to be reminded of our difficulties and limited ignorance and all of that. So Maheshwari can appear too calm and great and distant, Mahakali too swift and formidable, but all turn with joy and longing to Mahalakshmi. For she throws the spell of the intoxicating sweetness of the divine. To be close to her is a profound happiness, and to feel her within the heart is to make existence a rapture and a marvel. Grace and charm and tenderness flow out from her like light from the sun. And wherever she fixes her wonderful gaze or lets fall the loveliness of her smile, the soul is seized and made captive and plunged into the depths of an unfathomable bliss. Magnetic is the touch of her hands, and their occult and delicate influence refines mind and life and body. And where she presses her feet, course miraculous streams of an entrancing ananda. Poetry in prose, poetry of Sri Aurobindo. Words describe what it is, but there is a sense one gets in these words that beyond these words. Grace and charm and tenderness flow out from her like light from the sun, and wherever she fixes her wonderful gaze or lets fall the loveliness of her smile, the soul is seized and made captive and plunged into the depths of an unfathomable bliss. Such beautiful writing, such lilt and flow. Among all the four powers, it appears Mother Mahalakshmi seems to take us closer to our psychic being. To feel her within the heart is to make existence a rapture and a marvel. Everything about Mother Mahalakshmi, all the attributes that we talk about are the attributes we also see when Sri Aurobindo and Mother speak of the psychic being. Love, warmth, tenderness, sweetness, devotion. All of these are aspects of psychic being, are attributes of psychic being. By cultivating these, we come closer to our original psychic nature. When we turn to the Mother, particularly when we discover the Mother for the first time in our life and we come to Pondicherry and we try to know a little bit, there is an innocent exuberance and joy that floods our heart. We come here, we feel blessed. We breathe the air, we feel like we are breathing the Mother's consciousness. When we go to the Samadhi and bow down and touch the Samadhi, we offer ourselves Manasa Vacha Karma. There is a certain joy in the air and there is a certain spring in our step, and all of us would have experienced this. These are the vibrations we are talking about. Vibrations of Mother Mahalakshmi, which we all have experienced. And MP Panditji says, this is why the Mother was called Dushmer. Dushmer because sweet Mother was not just an expression. It was when she held the palms of the devotee or her child, when she gazed into the eyes of someone kneeling, she poured herself out. In our ashram related books, there is a series called The Mother of Love by MP Panditji, 3 or 4 volumes. She used to pour her love into our soul, fill us up to the extent that we could receive. Wherever the Mother looked, MP Panditji says, wherever she looked, wherever she turned, whatever she touched, she cast a spell of sweetness which continued to linger on the heart long after people came away from her. It is a living experience for us who knew her. Particularly in the beginning of the sadhana, he says, she used to pour a lot of these blessings onto the sadhaks. And later on, he goes to add, but after some time, the real work of Mahasaraswati begins, chiseling us to perfection. But this was who Mother was. And elsewhere, when we were reading the Mahakali chapter also, it was said that sometimes Mother would give a blow, but later she would pour unexpected tenderness of Mahalakshmi to make that person feel that warmth of the Mother. Going further, and yet it is not easy to meet the demand of this enchanting power or to keep her presence. Harmony and beauty of the mind and soul, harmony and beauty of the thoughts and feelings, harmony and beauty in every outward act and movement, harmony and beauty of love and surroundings. This is the demand of Mahalakshmi. Harmony and beauty of the mind and soul, harmony and beauty of the thoughts and feelings. This is the inner harmony. Mind and soul, thoughts and feelings. And then the outer harmony, harmony and beauty in every outward act and movement, harmony and beauty of life and surroundings. This is the demand of Mahalakshmi. We being limited human beings, we have very peculiar character. We are very funny in some ways. We all know Diwali, we do Mahalakshmi Puja. What do we do a few days before Mahalakshmi Puja? घर की पूरी गद्दे की सफाई करते हैं ना? The idea of Mahalakshmi Puja is not that. The idea of Mahalakshmi Puja is to keep the house clean 365 days. Harmony and beauty of life and surroundings means our table, our cupboard, everything should have that sense of beauty and harmony throughout the year. But we try to manage. Chalo, once a year is better than never a year, so we try to do these peculiar things. Going further, inner and outer harmony we have seen. Where there is affinity to the rhythms of the secret world bliss and response to the call of the all-beautiful, and concord and unity and glad flow of many lives turned towards the divine. In that atmosphere, she consents to abide. But all that is ugly and mean and base, all that is poor and sordid and squalid, all that is brutal and coarse repels her advent. When we talk about harmony, we should remember what Sri Aurobindo has told us in a very famous statement of his, both in Life Divine and Synthesis probably. All problems of existence are essentially problems of harmony. So the solution to all problems of existence is invocation of Mother Mahalakshmi, because she brings in the harmony. That is how important this particular power of the Divine Mother is. Sri Aurobindo says elsewhere, harmony is the natural rule of the spirit. It is the inherent law and spontaneous consequence of unity in multiplicity, of unity in diversity, of a various manifestation of oneness. Look how profound this particular power of Mahalakshmi is. When we understand Sri Aurobindo's gradations of the mind and we talk about how the essential unity is found at the supramental level and the division begins from the overmental level. And when we come into multiplicity, the ego makes us disidentify ourselves with each other, and therefore it causes all the disharmony. Sri Aurobindo is pointing out the reverse, upwards, and he says, harmony is the natural rule of the spirit. It is the inherent law and spontaneous consequence of unity in multiplicity. We are all one. There is an inherent unity, and that is where the harmony comes from. In all this multiplicity, there is an inherent unity. And that unity is the source of this harmony. Very powerful. Talking about collectivity, disharmony, all of these, there are a couple of quotations of the mother I would like to share with you. By the way, in the WhatsApp group, I've shared some pictures. I've shared the picture of integral harmony, the flower that mother gave the name to. I've shared that. So here is another quotation of the mother. Powerful quotation. A harmonious collective aspiration can change the course of circumstances. A harmonious collective aspiration can change the course of the circumstances. When we come together to work, disharmony does take root. The forces of ignorance that prefer the light of Mother and Sri Aurobindo to manifest only in a limited way, if at all, they try to, the easiest way they enter is disharmony and through our ego. How do we work as a collective? Here is a beautiful quotation. A harmonious collective aspiration can change the course of circumstances. Collective aspiration, which is built with harmony as the basis. Another quotation, Mother says, surely we must want peace and harmony and work for it as much as we can. But for the best field of action is always within ourselves. Look for the inner causes of disharmony much more than the outer causes. Somebody wrote to Sri Aurobindo, harmony cannot, he writes to Sri Aurobindo, you have written, harmony cannot be brought about by external organization only. Harmony cannot be brought out by external organization only. Inner harmony there must be, or else there will always be clash and disorder. What is this inner harmony? So obviously there is a collectivity. How do we find that inner harmony? Sri Aurobindo says, union in the mother. Just one phrase, he doesn't elaborate. The true approach for a collectivity to work in inner harmony is to find union in the mother, he says. So, going further, in the same paragraph, harmony and beauty of the mind and soul, harmony and beauty of thoughts and feelings, harmony and beauty in every outward act and movement, harmony and beauty in life and surroundings. This is the demand of Mahalakshmi. There has to be a harmony and beauty at every level of the being and at every level of our consciousness. First, even before outer harmony, we have a difficulty inside. What is the difficulty? Our own nature is in a state of disharmony. How? Our higher nature wants to get onto a rocket and go towards the supramental sun. Our lower nature is tied to its cause of satisfaction of ego, desire, all the rest that follows. We have wings of fire but feet of clay. This is our first inner harmony, inner disharmony. So Panditji says, MP Panditji says, first it is to be between the mind and soul. What the soul wants, the mind must express. The mind must not busy itself with pursuits and occupations which are alien to the demands of the soul. Am I understanding my own nature? Is my nature supporting me in the highest aspiration that I have? If it is not supporting me, what parts of our nature need to be tinkered with? How should they be brought in line? And further, one must feel what one thinks and think what one feels. All of these are inner harmony. And we don't have that. Manasa, Vacha, Karma, alignment is not there. And then the outer actions also must follow this particular line, toe the line established by the physical, vital, mental. This is spiritual life, isn't it? Particularly among young children, it is difficult to explain all of these things. So ethical and moral foundation can be a good beginning for children. Teen, pre-teen, just about a good ethical moral framework. An idea of what is conducive for our growth, what is conducive to our culture, what is conducive to our values, and what is outside of the scope of that. Gradually, as the child grows, then the alignment will become more perfect. Another sentence in the paragraph that we read about, where there is affinity to the rhythms of the secret world bliss and response to the call of the all-beautiful and concord and unity and glad flow of many lives turned towards the divine, where she establishes her reign, there is rhythms of the secret world bliss, response to the call of the all-beautiful. When I read this, it almost brought to my mind the pictures of Vrindavan and Sri Krishna playing the flute. The cows coming to him, the gopikas rushing to him, his friends coming to him, and he holding all of them in enthrallment. And there is brimming over of joy and ananda. Somewhere, this is the beauty and joy. These are the footprints of Mother Mahalakshmi. And then Sri Aurobindo also spends a little bit of the other side, what are not conducive. And we have seen this in every chapter I pointed out to you. What are the things that need to be done and what are the things that need to be avoided? All that is poor and sordid and squalid, all that is brutal and coarse repels her advent. Somebody went to the mother and said, what is this business of all that is poor? And look at how mother elaborates it. We think poor is somebody who doesn't have money, right? After all, that's what we all think. Mother says, yes, poor. Without generosity, without ardor. Ardor is that strong aspiration, desire to progress. Without inner richness, all that is dry, cold, doubled upon itself, prevents the coming of Mahalakshmi. It is not a question of real money, you know. An extremely rich man may be terribly poor from Mahalakshmi's point of view. And a very poor man may be very rich if his heart is generous. so much different from how we perceive, or many people perceive, not we, because we have read, we have followed Mother and Sri Aurobindo, we understand the nuances, but how the world perceives. A poor man is a man having no qualities, no force, no strength, no generosity. He is also an unhappy man, a miserable man. We have to keep in mind that we don't have all of these things. We should not entertain these things. Further, Sri Aurobindo goes on, where love and beauty are not, or are reluctant to be born, she does not come. Where they are mixed and disfigured with baser things, she turns soon to depart, or cares little to pour her riches. If she finds herself in men's hearts surrounded with selfishness, hatred, jealousy, malignance, and envy and strife, if treachery and greed and ingratitude are mixed in the sacred chalice, if grossness of passion and unrefined desire degrade devotion, in such hearts the gracious and beautiful goddess will not linger. A divine disgust seizes upon her and she withdraws, for she is not the one who insists or strives, or veiling her face, she waits for this bitter and poisonous devil's stuff to be rejected and disappear before she will found anew her happy influence. Often what happens when we read some negative description, our mind is a very clever mind. It applies all these to somebody else. Maybe even somebody specific for each of those attributes. Oh, this person, lot of selfishness. That person, lot of hatred. This person, lot of jealousy. Very conveniently, we attribute all of this to somebody else. But the truth of the matter is, my friends, all of us contain to some degree, in some corner, most of these things. First, we have to acknowledge that. First, we have to acknowledge that. We have to recognize and realize that these things exist in us in some corners and come out at the most unexpected moments, even briefly, if at all. But we cannot deny their existence, for denying their existence is to actually create an opportunity for a bigger failure in our life. Second, many of these attributes we have to work upon to develop the positive opposites. Selfishness. Can I be more self-giving to everyone around me? Jealousy. Is there a part of me that has a pang or a passing pang? Oh, this fellow is lucky always. Oh, that person surely doesn't deserve. Pata nahi kiska krupa aa gaya is par. These are all manifestations of jealousy somewhere. We have to learn to observe and dissociate ourselves from it. This is easy. First, identify it. Then don't get depressed about it. Say that this is universal ignorance and start working by cultivating the opposites and widening our consciousness. Where love and beauty are not, or are reluctant to be born, she does not come. The mother's comments, when the surroundings, circumstances, atmosphere, the way of living, above all, the inner attitude are of a low kind, where there is no aesthetics, where we are dumping things in the house, where we are perhaps not providing adequate space for harmonious relationships, where we are pulling back instead of giving more. The inner attitude are altogether of a low kind, vulgar, gross, egoistic, sordid, etc. Love is reluctant to come. That is, it is always hesitant. It always hesitates to manifest, and generally does not stay long. A home of beauty must be given for beauty to stay. A home of beauty must be given for beauty to stay. Please do not misinterpret these words to indicate that mother is saying that we should all have these rich, big houses with extremely expensive decorations. No. When we see ashram guest houses, the rooms are not compared to a 5-star hotel anywhere. When we see the ashram quarters given to sadhaks, they are very austere. But whatever is there is kept to a point of perfection, point of harmony, point of beauty, maybe austerity, but still an austerity of a beautiful type. I remember some years ago when I had the opportunity to see a few ashrams in Benares. Happened to visit there, meet a few people, etc. Several ashrams are there. After I visited the ashrams, I came away and I said, my God, it is because of mother that Sri Aurobindo ashram has such beauty associated with it at every turn. I felt it was the mother, even though Sri Aurobindo did write about all of it. I wonder if without mother coming, we could have ever even understood what Sri Aurobindo was saying. So we have to stay away from all these attributes: selfishness, hatred, jealousy, malignance, envy, strife, treachery, greed, ingratitude. It is shocking to realize so many people in the world, even successful people, businessmen, all of them continue to indulge in these things. I was just having lunch with a friend of mine who is an entrepreneur, etc. And he talked about how people working under him sabotaged his own project and helped other divisions to shine. People who are working under him, drawing good salaries, reporting to him, yet undermining. And if you ask them, they will say, oh, some justification. Mind can always build a justification. It is not that treachery only happens in one, very extreme level. It is a part of how corporate world works. It's a part of how even NGO world works. It's a part of how human consciousness works. Brother cheating, brother with property. We know all of these things. And further, there are a few more. Grossness of passion and unrefined desire. This is where it hits home even closer for us who want to do sadhana. We have to be careful about our desire element, the extent of entertaining it. And then she goes on to say, Sri Aurobindo goes on to say, if all of these happen, a divine disgust seizes upon her and she withdraws. For she is not the one who insists or strives. Mahalakshmi withdraws. What can be a bigger loss and curse than that, you tell me? Or she waits for this bitter and poisonous devil stuff to be rejected and disappear before she will found anew her happy influence. Somebody asked, Mother, what is this phrase? Divine disgust seizes upon her. How does divine disgust, what does it mean? Mother says, it is a disgust that is full of total compassion. It is something that takes upon itself the bad vibration in order to cure others of it. The consequences of the wrong movement or the low movement, instead of throwing it back with cold justice upon the one who has committed the mistake, it absorbs it in order to transform it within itself and diminishes as far as possible the material consequences of the fault committed. So when a divine disgust comes upon the mother and she withdraws, it is not that she is going to punish us for the evil deed. What even then she tries to do is she tries to take the repercussion, the consequence of the negative act and absorb that shock and try to transform that vibration and improve the level of consciousness. I mean, how compassionate can mother be is visible in this. How compassionate. Here, mother also gives the example of Shiva drinking poison. It is an imaginative way of expressing divine disgust. And somebody else asked Sri Aurobindo, how does one appreciate beauty with a spiritual attitude? And Sri Aurobindo goes on to say, there is nothing harmful in the aspiration for beauty itself. On the contrary, to awake to the universal beauty and refinement of the Mahalakshmi force is good. It is not an expression of greed or lust. Only into these things a perversion can come if one allows it. As into the Mahakali experience, there may come rajasic anger and violence. So here there may be a vital possession or enjoyment. One must look at beauty as the artist does, without the desire of possession or vital enjoyment of the lower kind. So where we are talking about divine disgust seizes upon her, where we talk about unrefined desire that degrades devotion, Sri Aurobindo is pointing out, look at beauty as an artist does, but without the desire for possession or the lower enjoyment of the vital kind. Ascetic, I'm going further in the text. Ascetic bareness and harshness are not pleasing to her, nor the suppression of the heart's deeper emotions and the rigid repression of the soul's and life's parts of beauty. Mahalakshmi does not encourage ascetic bareness, which was at one point, it had taken over our entire field of Sanatana Dharma. You want to realize God, you become a sannyasi, you shave your head and you go to the mountain. That was the prescription, right? That was not something that the mother or Sri Aurobindo encouraged. They said we should be in the world, accept the world, yet when the situation arises, let go without a pang of attachment. Ishavashyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyan jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita magrada sarvaki swiddhanam. The idea is enjoy what you have. Don't compare it with yourself. Do not try to possess what the other person has or wants. Don't compare. Don't be miserable. Enjoy what you have, because that is given to you by God for your enjoyment. Somewhere it is said that it is the Buddhists who turned away the Indian continent from the ideal of beauty. Otherwise, ideal of beauty was very important in Indian civilization. And then they say, through Buddhism, we gained the soul but lost the world. Going further, for it is through love and beauty that she lays on men the yoke of the divine. It is a very beautiful sentence. It is through love and beauty that she lays on men the yoke of the divine. What is a yoke? When you see two cattle that the farmer is using to till the land, he puts a little wooden plank or a rod or cylindrical wooden thing. stick on those and then drives them. That is yoke. You put it to control the person or the animal. So here it is through love and beauty that she lays on men the yoke of the divine. So it is not a yoke of burden that suppresses us. It is actually a yoke of love and beauty, of joy that elevates us. It is in that way that Mahalakshmi works with us. Life is turned in us, in our supreme creations, into a rich work of celestial art, and all existence into a poem of sacred delight. The world's riches are brought together and concerted for a supreme order, and even the simplest and commonest things are made wonderful by her intuition of unity and the breath of her spirit. Admitted to the heart, she lifts wisdom to pinnacles of wonder, reveals to it the mystic secrets of the ecstasy that surpasses all knowledge, meets devotion with a passionate attraction for the divine, teaches to strength and force the rhythm that keeps the might of their acts harmonious and in measure, and casts on perfection the charm that makes it endure forever. She lifts wisdom to the pinnacles of wonder, teaches to strength and force the rhythm that keeps the might of their acts harmonious and in measure, and casts on perfection the charm that makes it endure forever. In fact, elsewhere, talking about the power of beauty, Sri Aurobindo says, the preoccupation with universal beauty, even in its aesthetic forms, has an intense power of refining and subtilizing the nature. It refines our gross nature. It helps us evolve ourselves. And at its highest, it is a great force for purification. Aesthetics is a very powerful way of refinement. I remember reading about one of the sadhaks. The mother told him to listen to Western classical music regularly. So every afternoon, after his lunch in the dining hall, when he would come back home and rest for some time, he had fixed that hour to listen to Western classical music. And that went on day after day, week after week, year after year, decade after decade, even after mother left her physical body. Continuous working on refinement. It is important we cultivate it. It is not how good the final product comes out. At our branch, for example, for every Darshan day, recently we started, our secretary Archana ji, she's a part of the session today. She conducts Savitri painting classes. It is so beautiful. It is so refined an experience. It really opens us to mother's music, way of thinking of the lines of Savitri, contemplating, letting those lines go and touch and move our heart, and expressing that movement of the heart outward into some colors and patterns and designs and drawings. 1 hour, it is a 1 hour of waking meditation for those who attend these classes. Anything that appeals to us that can help us refine. If you like writing poetry on a regular basis. It is not only the skill, it is also the movement of the entire being and the outpouring of energies in that direction. In the ashram school, we feel many children are blessed with integral education, where on one side they might be doing astrophysics, on the other side they may be playing sitar or tabla or dance. And I know one sadhika here who started learning Kathak at the age of 65. Such a beautiful way of trying to refine our nature. Many of us struggle when we come to spiritual life, whether we use the Sri Aurobindo's terminology or whether we belong to some other path. Our lower vital nature, our desires, our ego, there is very grossness there that needs to be refined and opened to higher life. And how is it possible? This is how it is possible, through aesthetics. The mother's aspect of love, the perfection of manifested love, which must come before the supreme love. We have to learn to manifest this. These are again comments of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. You see, Mahalakshmi is the mother's, divine mother's aspect of love, the perfection of manifested love, which must come before the supreme love can come. The supreme love referred to in Savitri, that is what is referred to in Savitri, when the Supreme sends Savitri to the earth. Forever love, O beautiful slave of God. It is the image of the realization, the birth of Mahalakshmi consciousness in the very matter, that is to say, the form of the divine love in matter. So this way, there is an entire movement of Mahalakshmi that is needed for spiritual seekers. All the way from establishing beauty and harmony, inner and outer, to the point of refinement of one's nature through beauty and harmony. This particular section, I felt, after years and years of reading the book, The Mother, the Mahalakshmi section, I found it to be most poetic, most beautiful. It is as if there is a lilt and flow, and as not only the Sri Aurobindo writes about captivating, enchanting, all that happens to us. It is as if these words are captivating us and enchanting us. It's so beautiful and so powerful. And once we do the sadhana, one realizes that gradually the equations with people around us also take a hue of harmony. Our own issues, where there is difficulties at every turn in life, slowly those resolve because our energies are getting in tune with the universal energies. There is a harmonization outward. If any of you has this difficulty, and I know many people who do, anything they go to do, something seems to be interfering. So that is an indication of the need for harmony. So we can pray for the grace of Mahalakshmi. We can pray that she blesses us. We can pray that she becomes a part of our own nature. So I think we will stop here for today with this section of reading Mahalakshmi. There is even the mother's music. In one of the mother's music pieces, there is an invocation of Mahalakshmi also that comes in. Many of us may remember. It's very beautifully chanted. If I find it, I will try to add it in the WhatsApp group. If any of you easily access it, please place it in the WhatsApp group. It's very beautiful.
Only a prayer comes to my mind, that let's all pray that Mahalakshmi blesses all of us, so much so that we, children of the mother, stay blessed with her infinite blessings. Because it's no point giving any question at this juncture or asking anything, because you have beautifully narrated everything so smoothly. And still, if anyone has some question, can unmute and ask, but otherwise we normally end it with a 1 minute prayerful silence.